and welcome to QuiltMoxie the Podcast, where QuiltMoxie meets Craftsy.com, an online community dedicated to providing the best education and resources for crafters. Join me, Ariana, your host, and come along on my video journey where I participate in the Craftsy online classes and community. Meet up with us online at QuiltMoxie.com or at your favorite hangout, Craftsy, Ravelry, Facebook, Twitter. Check the credits at the end of the show for more. You can also subscribe to our mailing list to get your next and every episode with show notes delivered directly to your email as soon as the episode is available. It's as simple as dropping your email address and checking Receive Podcast by email. Hello and welcome back. This is episode 5. And today we're going to be tackling the Perfect Fit Seamless Crazy Lace Cardigan by Myra Wood on Craftsy. I'd like to start today by giving you a quick overview of the little quilt that's behind me. Actually, it's not so little. It's a queen size quilt. And this is the quilt that I promised to show you in a prior podcast. Now, the quilt is called When Lions Hunt Zebras. This is the quilt that I did with my husband, and we showed it for the first time at our Quilt Guild exhibition, and we won a ribbon. We won first prize, and it was awarded by the Canadian Quilters Association. So here's the ribbon. Canadian Quilters Association, Association Canadienne de la Courte Pointe Award. First place. We were shocked. Anyway, my hubby is thrilled. If you want to find out a little bit more about the quilt, check the show notes. Of course, we have a link and it'll tell you all about how we named it When Lions Hunt Zebras. And you'll see the quilt in its entirety. It is a combination of Irish chain, and it's entirely made with cathedral windows. So I'll just show you where those zebras are so that you can check back once you've read the story. So here's one, and the other zebra is over here. Just wanted to show that to you. And before we get into the Perfect Fit Seamless Crazy Lace Cardigan by Myra Wood, I'd like to take a moment and thank everybody. I'm so surprised and delighted to receive some positive reviews. The first one I got from, it was a 5-star review in iTunes in the USA. And it was from Jay and Judy. So thank you so much for that. I understand that the higher the star reviews are in iTunes, the better we can promote our podcast to more people. So thank you very much. Also, we put the podcast onto YouTube, and lo and behold, Adelia in Brazil found us there, and she also made a very positive comment on YouTube. So thank you very much for that. And our Ravelry group, I set up a Ravelry group basically copying what all the other podcasts are doing out there. Everybody has a Ravelry group, etc. And I thought I was going to be in Ravelry all by myself for the first maybe couple of months when I started the podcast, but that's not so. We have group members, so welcome to the Ravelry group. Thank you for joining us, and I had also some positive comments from the Ravelry group that you're enjoying our podcast as well. So thank you very much for that. I wanted to give a special shout out to Rye Crafty, who also has a podcast, and it's called Knitting Go. And she mentioned us on her podcast because, yes, Rye Crafty is also a Canadian podcast, and she's on the other side of Canada from where I am. I'm in Quebec, and she is in Calgary, Alberta. which, as many of you know, they have suffered a devastating flood over the last couple of weeks. But her podcast is just wonderful, and her knitting projects are extraordinary. So if you get a chance, check her out. Check out what she's doing. So what you'll see on our podcast is me going through Craftsy, trying to learn how to knit, etc., etc. Crafty, I don't know how she does it, but she's putting extraordinary knitting projects out there. Check it out. So let's get into our perfect fit seamless crazy lace cardigan by Myra Wood on Craftsy. So behind you can see the first project is the Bolero, and Myra, she starts off by doing swatching. And in a last podcast I had alluded that I think I was going to enjoy swatching with Myra, and guess what? Oh wow. For all of you who don't like swatching, try Myra's technique for swatching. I went overboard and I really enjoyed swatching for the Bolero. And I'm going to show you my swatches. So Myra has a whole repertoire, lots of suggestions on how to go about organizing your knitting and starting, etc., etc. And for her swatching, she has a couple of suggestions, some of which I have not taken to heart, but some I have. So the first thing she recommends is do a couple of swatches and do them using different size needles, etc. So here are the 3 swatches I started off with, and I did follow her recommendation. You just put a tag on the bottom and you put your needle size and the yarn that you used, and here is the swatch. So because it is a top-down raglan project that we're doing, she has us swatching the raglan motif here with eyelets, and I think this is such a great idea. You're not spending a lot of time swatching. It's very cool. It keeps you interested, and you get to see your motif. So here is the one that I ended up using, which is the 4.5 millimeter size needle with the Sirdar wool from, again, we're using all of my mom's stash. So part of one of the bags that I had shown you before, she had this Aran wash and wear Sirdar wool, and that is what I'm using for this particular project. Okay, so she says, okay, you pick the do it in a couple of different sizes, which I did. So here they are, 1, 2, I think there's a third one, and I labeled it. Okay, so 3 swatches. It went very fast. It was a lot of fun. But then I went crazy. I just went crazy. So here is another swatch. So what I was doing on this swatch was I was trying to come up with a motif for the raglan. So I'm just going to show the camera, hopefully, the different motifs that I put at the raglan part. I hope it's picking it up. So here we go. Here's a very simple, I think, yeah. Here's a cable and another cable and a simpler cable. And then you thought that was all there was to my swatching? No. Then I did another much more complicated motif for the raglan and a wider cable. So I'd like to thank Myra for her swatching technique. I think it's a lot of fun. Give it a try. Take her class and check out how she goes about swatching. Yeah, so that's it. The other thing that I learned from Myra, which I really, really love, and I think I mentioned this in another podcast, is her crochet cast on, which I'm now using for everything. I really, really like it. In fact, she I haven't done the button band to the Bolero, which is not complete. It's the one behind me here. But I did some sample tests using the crochet cast on with her single row buttonhole technique. And of course here, another sort of swatch of all my little different tests that I did here using her cast on. So now the cast on, this is a buttonhole that uses just her crochet cast on. Here's the front. I'm going to show you the back, and here's the back. And I find it just really looks nice, so I like it. The other buttonholes that you're going to see on this swatch are where I decided to do either with a needle or a crochet hook some reinforcement. So here with the blue, you can see on the front of it where I did crochet reinforcement. I'm going to turn it around so that you can see what it looks like on the back. So you can see it finishes really, really nicely. And then I did the reverse technique on another buttonhole, so I'll show that. It's variegated yarn that I used, but just to show another option of reinforcing the buttonhole and the back finish. So yeah, here it is. This one here, this buttonhole shows what it looks like when you're using the same yarn. And let me show you the back. Look how nice that is. I'm hoping that this time the camera is catching this. Okay, so let's get to the Bolero, which is the first project in her class, and it's back here. So what remains to be done is the button band. So I followed her instruction. What I really, really like about this class is it's top down. And like Myra says, that you can fit it to your body. And you might have noticed that my mannequin looks a little beefier than the last time, and that is because I had to up the numbers to match my new size, which is a bit beefier than I used to be. And so here's my mannequin, who looks a little bit bigger than before. And the project. So I'm going to take off the cardigan just to show you some close-ups of what I did do. For those of you who have been following me along, ever since I did my first steeked project with Mary Jane Mucklestone, I'm a steeker. So everything I do, I'm steeking. And this project doesn't Myra, you know, she encourages you to try your project on as you go along to be sure that everything fits properly, which is a great idea. And the top-down approach gives you less of an investment in case something goes wrong, so you can fix that right up top. So, but I had to steek. And what I learned from the Celtic Cables class is that I had my spreadsheet ready to go for calculating sizes and fitting and etc., etc. And I'm pleased to report that the Bolero fits really nicely. So this is what I decided. Because I took Celtic Cables, I can now cable. I used a cable where the eyelets were, on the front and on the back. Okay, and I did steek it closed in the front, but I did try it on as best as I could throughout the entire project, like Myra suggested. I used the crochet reinforcement for the steeking, which I'm going to show you here, and it's with, do I have it here? Yes, I do. I have some other mystery yarn, which is actually, I think, a cotton that my mom had in her stash. And if I recall, this she might have been using, I'm not sure, but I'm going to guess that she used to be crocheting motifs, crochet motifs around handkerchiefs. So I'm guessing that's what this was used for. And I used it to reinforce my steek. So then I thought about it. The yarn itself is a superwash yarn, and I'm using a crochet to steek it. So then I said, oh, well, maybe the steek will not be adequately reinforced. So I went overboard and I said, oh, okay, well, I'm going to sew it down. And I used a 1x1 zigzag and I sewed it down, and you cannot even tell. This is after I had cut open the steek already. I decided to sew it just to be extreme, I guess. So I'm going to show you the crochet steek. Hopefully the camera is going to be able to pick it up. You should see sort of the, oh, I cannot see it. Okay. Ah, there it is, there it is. Okay, so you see what a nice finish the crochet steek reinforcement is, and the knit stitch beside it is where I sewed the 1x1 zigzag, which probably was unnecessary, but I did it anyway. So for sure this is not going to unravel. The benefits of steeking, of course, is that my tension is even throughout, or as even as it's going to be throughout, because eventually Myra gets to the sleeves where you're going to end up doing it in the round, and sometimes your flat tension and your in the round tension may look different, but in my case, because I was doing a steek, all the tension looks the same, so that is a benefit. On the other hand, one drawback to steeking is that once you have cut open your steek, you're committed, because this yarn I would not be able to unravel or frog back. So in that way, it's maybe, well, I don't really frog back anyway, and I'm using Mom's stash. So in my case, steeking is a good thing because I'm not planning to frog back. So, okay. What else can I tell you? Well, after I learned the crochet cast on by Myra, I've been using that crochet cast on everywhere, including under the armhole. So what I ended up doing under the armhole, and I'm going to give you a close-up, this is before I have woven in any of my ends. So I'm going to show you what it looks like before I have woven in any ends. Hopefully camera's getting this. And you're going to see that under the arm, where the armpit area is, it looks somewhat like a gusset, and the fit is just wonderful. So I'm going to go inside out and show you the inside, and show you this is the yarn that would need to be woven in, but using the crochet cast on, I basically didn't have to graft my underarm area with a Kitchener or a grafting stitch. I just knitted it shut. So this is part of, I guess, one step more than what's shown in the Craftsy class, because it's totally seamless. There is there's no hole, there's nothing that you have to seam together. Mind you, it's not as perfect as it could be. I guess if I look at it long, but it's really, really solid. And with the crochet loops on the inside where the armhole is, I find that it gives it a little bit of extra structure to the garment, and it just is a solid closure. It just really, really, I just liked it. I liked it a lot. So there, tip time. Okay, I wanted to share with you how I insert a piece of waste yarn into the hole at the bottom of the Chow Goo interchangeable red lace needles. These are the ones that I use to knit up the Bolero behind me. What's great about this little hole that's provided is that once you thread your waste yarn through there, you could do it with dental floss as well. In any case, once you use the waste yarn and it's a bit thicker than dental floss, I find it's hard to thread. So you use this as you're knitting, and you knit one row, and this will automatically insert your lifeline into your garment as you're knitting. So in my case, I have trouble threading a needle, always have. So this is what I do to help me. So whether I'm threading a needle or I'm threading the ChiaoGoo interchangeable waste yarn, I use either masking tape or regular tape, gift wrapping tape. I just take a piece off. I take a piece of dental floss, fold it in half, twist it a bit, and sandwich the twisted part, folding the tape together, so you still have the loop up here and the folded piece here. Take a scissor, oops, and cut a sharp point. So I'm cutting a point. There's my sharp point, and this is what I'm going to thread into the ChiaoGoo needle, which is a lot easier, and it's rigid enough to easily pull through. So here I've got it through the needle. I pull this through. Here you see the loop, and then I would put in my waste yarn. Okay, so you take your waste yarn, put it through the loop, and then you can pull this through. And that is how easy it is to get a piece of waste yarn through the ChiaoGoo needle hole. Try this tip. You can try it for any kind of sewing activity where you have a tough time threading your needle. Okay, so what else can I tell you about our little Bolero? I learned how to do a little bit of lace. Thank you, Myra. And what else is there? I blocked it. Oh, that's the other thing. Myra has this really cool way of blocking. And of course I have these supplies. The thing that I'm missing is her little steamer. She uses a little steamer, and she has sort of a quilting mat with a grid on it that she sort of uses as a blocking board, and she steams as she goes, steam blocks her garment pieces as she goes, so that you get instant gratification by getting to try on your Bolero as you go along, and you get to see what it looks like after you've partially blocked it with the steamer. Now I didn't do that because I don't have a steamer, and I don't know why I didn't do it, but I like the idea, and eventually maybe I will get one of those little steamers and do what Myra suggested. So I thought the top-down approach was really, really good, and the fit is so easy to fit to your body. I really, really like it. What remains to be done is the button band, and hopefully once I have that installed, next time I will have a finished Bolero jacket to show you. So I hope that you enjoyed today's summary on what I did in Myra Wood's class on Craftsy, the Perfect Fit Seamless Crazy Lace Cardigan class. And yeah, give it a try for yourself. Next time I'd like to start talking about my double knitting class that I'm taking on Craftsy as well. There are 2 double knitting classes on Craftsy. Right now I'm only taking the one with Alistair Quinn. I believe that's his name. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, so I'm only taking one of the classes right now. and I'm going to talk about that next time. So thank you again for joining me today, and hope to see you next time. Bye for now. À la prochaine.